Hello everyone, welcome to TechSend and let's continue with this Python tutorial. We spoke about how to define a function by using the def keyword and then mention the function name. But when you don't mention the name, it is called an anonymous function. In Python, we call them lambdas. So let's define a function by using the def keyword. It is a function that will add two numbers, num1 and num2. So it will return num1 plus num2, and then let me call the function, so I'll say print add and 5 and 4. But look at this function. It is a very small function and a basic one. Usually functions have more than one line of code. So let's say you want to define a function without a name and you want to use it only once. So we use anonymous functions. First, let us write the arguments. So the argument will be num1 and num2. Then we'll mention a colon. And after the colon, we will mention the expression or what we want to do with those arguments. So I want to add them both together. So num1 plus num2. So what I just did right now is I declared or wrote a anonymous function. And to make Python know that this is an anonymous function, I should mention the lambda keyword. So lambda, and right now we have a anonymous function. So this lambda is actually a function, just like how we defined a function over here. And in Python, functions are actually objects. So we assigned our function lambda to a variable because we know that functions are actually objects. So right now what I could do is I should actually call my function. I could say print x parentheses and mention the arguments num1 and num2. Let's say also 5 and 4. Let me delete this one. So if I launch my program, I'll get 9. That's because 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. So to declare an anonymous function, first we need to assign it to a variable. Then we'll mention the lambda function, which represent the anonymous function. Then we need to mention the parameters. It could be anything. I could say num1 also and num2. After it, we'll put a colon, then we will mention an expression. And anonymous function only have one expression. So num1, let's say minus num2 this time. So if I want to call my function, I'll write y. Let's say num1 will be 6 and 4 we should get definitely 2. Just like how we define a function, we could have optional arguments, right? So we could have the same thing for the anonymous function. So I could say num2 could have a default value which is 6. Right now I can by not mention the second argument and it will still work, so we will get 11. We got 11. We could also use keyword arguments. So we could write num1 here and then num2 here. So those are keyword arguments. Make sure to check out my video about functions in Python to know what is keyword arguments. Also we could write multiple arguments. So if I delete this expression and instead I will say asterisk sign nums, and then I'm gonna delete this expression too, I'll say nums. And here I could mention multiple arguments. Let's say a string, Python, a boolean value, and some numbers. So 45, 45.6. Let me print my function and we'll get a tuple that contains different data type. And if we mention double asterisk sign, this time I will delete all of this. And what I can do here is I could mention multiple arguments with their parameters. So let's say name equal to John and age is equal to, let's say, 23, and his wife's name is wife, let's say, equal to Kelly. So if I print, I'll get a dictionary containing the name, which is the key, and its value John, and so on for the others. Now in Python, we usually use the lambda function when we want to use map or filter. So let's start with map. Map is used as an iterator. So let's say I have this LST and it will be a list containing the numbers from 1 to 10. So I'm generating a list that has the numbers from 1 to 10. So 1 to 11 because 11 is excluded. So let me create a new list, so lst2, and I'm gonna use the map function. Inside the map function, I could actually use lambda. So I could say lambda x, let's say. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say x multiplied by 2. What this means, I want to multiply each element inside of my list, LST number 1, with 2. Then of course I need to mention the list, which is LST. And let me print LST2. Let's see what will happen. As you can see, the elements of my LST number 1 had been multiplied by 2 and stored inside of the new list, which is LST number 2. Right now let's use the filter function. So it is also an iterator, but the difference between the map and the filter is that the filter will return all the objects that will evaluate true. So let's say I said x mod 2 equal to 0. Definitely not all the objects or the elements inside of this list will evaluate true with this expression. So let's see what we'll get. I forgot to change it to filter, but as you can see with the map function, it gives us all the elements even if they evaluated false. But let's change it this time to filter. So I'll say here filter, and let me run my program. We got only the elements that evaluated true with this expression. So this is the map and the filter function. Alright, that is it on lambdas or anonymous function in Python. Thank you so much for watching today's video. This is Texent and I'll see you in the next one.